Since they came to power after the defeat of the first main kings of the Vale, House Arryn ruled the region for centuries from atop the Eyrie. They were respected by their bannermen, the small folk, and many of the other petty kings from across Westeros. House Arryn prospered, and so did the Vale itself, with it also commonly being known from then on as the Vale of Arryn. That is, until Aegon the Conqueror set sail from Dragonstone, with his sights set on Westeros. Very quickly, the Targaryens gained a strong foothold on the mainland and formed a formidable base of operation in the area surrounding the site that would later become King's Landing. As Aegon and his sisters conquered with fire and blood, kingdom after kingdom fell, with their 3 dragons an unstoppable force. When Aegon did turn his attention to the Vale, he dispatched his elder sister and wife Queen Visenya and her dragon Vhagar to capture the prize. Earlier on in the conquest, just after Aegon launched his invasion and made his intentions known to the rulers of the 7 independent kingdoms of Westeros, Sharra Arryn, clearly seeing the threat of Aegon and his dragons, sent a portrait of herself to him and offered her hand in marriage with the condition Aegon will make her son his heir. Of course, Aegon refused this offer, already having 2 wives, his sisters, Visenya and Rhaenys. After the refusal of marriage, the Targaryen fleet under Daemon Valerian left Blackwater Bay and turned north for Gulltown. With them went Queen Visenya and Vhagar. A hastily assembled Arryn fleet, augmented by a dozen Braavosi warships, met and defeated the Targaryen fleet in the waters off Gulltown. Among the dead was Aegon's admiral, Daemon Valerian, but Visenya atop Vhagar did cause catastrophic damage to the Arryn fleet. Aegon would leave the Vale be for the time being. Much later in the conquest, after the burning of Harrenhal, the defeat of the last Storm King, Argilac Durridon, and the infamous Field of Fire, Aegon's gaze moved back to the Vale. Aegon Targaryen and his queens parted company, Aegon turning south once again, marching towards Old Town, whilst his 2 sisters mounted their dragons, Visenya for the Vale and Rhaenys for Sunspear, and the Deserts of Dawn, the regent of the Vale, Sharra Arryn, had strengthened the defences of Gulltown, expecting another naval assault, but she also moved a strong host to the Bloody Gate and tripled the size of the garrison in the Stone, Snow and Sky way castles that guarded the approach to the Eyrie. With the shoring up of Gulltown and the large host of the way castles, Sharra felt confident in her position, more so knowing that the Eyrie in its long history had never once been taken. House Targaryen could throw men of all the kingdoms at the gates, and House Arryn would be safe and secure. But there is one vital factor in favour of House Targaryen that Sharra had overlooked, despite their importance during the rest of the conquest: dragons, and, in this case, Vhagar. All these defences, set out by Sharra, proved useless against Visenya Targaryen, who rode Vhagar's leathery wings above them all and landed in the Erie's inner courtyard. When the regent of the Vale rushed out to confront her, with a dozen guards at her back, she found Visenya with the young King Ronald Arryn seated on her knee, staring at the dragon, wonderstruck. "Mother, can I go flying with the lady?" the boy king asked. There were no threats spoken, no angry words exchanged. The 2 queens smiled at each other and exchanged courtesies instead. Sharra knew that it was over. There would be no glorious battle, no heroic deeds, no fight back. The time of the Kingdom of the Mountain and Vale was over. The power of the Falcon Crown no more. It was then Lady Sharra sent for the 3 crowns, her own regent's coronet, her son's small crown, and the Falcon Crown of the Mountain and the Vale the Arryn kings had worn for 1,000 years, and surrendered them to Queen Visenya, along with the swords of her garrison. And it was said afterwards that the little king flew thrice about the summit of the Giant's Lance, and landed to find himself a little lord. Thus did Visenya Targaryen bring the Vale of Arryn into her brother's realm. The now Lord Ronald Arryn would hold that position throughout Aegon the Conqueror's 37-year reign. His nickname, the King Who Flew, for the ride he had on Vhagar as a boy. Queen Rhaenys Targaryen arranged the marriage of Lord Ronald to the daughter of Lord Torrhen Stark, ending the years of conflicts over the islands of the 3 sisters. Upon the death of Aegon the Conqueror, however, and the ascension of his son Aenys to the Iron Throne, rebellion broke out in Westeros, including the Vale. Ronald's own brother, Jonas Arryn, rose in rebellion against him. Ronald was imprisoned and his title usurped by Jonas. House Royce of Runestone, led by Lord Allard Royce, gathered a force to sweep away Jonas and his supporters, penning him at the Eyrie. Ronald was executed by his brother, who had flung him out the moon door, earning him the nickname Jonas the Kinslayer. Ronald's death added a new, darker twist to his nickname, the King Who Flew. Jonas and his men remained defiant until Prince Maegor, the king's brother, flew to the Eyrie upon Balerion the Blackthread to crush the rebellion. Jonas's followers, knowing they could not defeat the dragon, turned on their leader, and Jonas shared the same fate as he had shown his brother Ronald, and was flung through the moon door. His men hoped that by surrendering, Prince Maegor Targaryen would show them mercy. Maegor's mercy, however, was having them all hanged instead of being burned alive by Balerion. Even the Highborn died by the noose, as Maegor denied them the honour of being beheaded. House Arryn continued after the deaths of Ronald and Jonas. Their cousin, Hubert Arryn, became the new Lord of the Vale.